We can now confirm that the owl is metal with a stone facing. Leaning up against a wall is the metal skeletal remains of Care. Care, or the conscience of the group, is symbolized by a human body. All that remains is the metal skeleton. Our source informs us that the Panterio oversees this part of the ritual. That was an important piece of the puzzle, because in 2003 we traveled back to the Grove and talked to a lot of the locals who were mainly friendly. But when we talked to a couple of local firefighters who were with the Monterey Fire Department and asked them about the... Here are some more stills inside the Grove. Our social lives, going to the football game or the PTA, a little bit different than your average world leader or corporation chief. No, in their spare time, they worship Moloch and do mock human sacrifices. We just need to get used to that and accept them as our leaders. Think about it. If your neighbor was engaging in mock human sacrifices to Moloch, the demon idol that was worshipped all over the Mediterranean and the Middle East, would you let that neighbor walk your dog or house sit, or how about babysit your children, or be in control of the nuclear launch codes? Well, let me give you a revelation. They are in control of the national deficit, of Congress, of your bank account, of your local police. Some of the crap in the voice of Mr. Burns on The Simpsons.
This is a get-together of very powerful guys.
Harry Shearer played the role of apologist in a British documentary about the Grove. Mr. Shearer, who is also a member of the Grove, said that they're just having fun when they have the cremation of Care ritual, and that it's a men's party where they blow off steam. But Mr. Shearer didn't stop there. In 2002, he produced a full-length feature film and released it titled The Teddy Bear's Picnic. Mr. Shearer has told the press that his film is based on the Bohemian Grove. The owl about it.
And I want to make an announcement for anyone who is parked across the street. Anyone who's parked across the street at the theater, on the theater grounds, you need to move your car. Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
So, are you one of the Grovers?
I'm just here.
One of the strangest chapters in the unfolding Bohemian Grove soap opera was the fact that local protesters were angry at us bringing up the occult activities in the Grove. They said that we should only spend our time focusing on the political decisions that were made in the Grove.
I think it's bad enough to just stick with what they're doing to the Grove.
Local peace activist Mary Moore had been protesting the Grove for more than 2 decades. When Mary saw our documentary and heard our take on what we witnessed inside, she went unglued, calling us all sorts of names. We were wacko for thinking these rituals were strange. Why were we reporting on that? For the 2001 protest, the year after we snuck in, Mary turned over control of the organization to other local groups, but she was in attendance. We then caught footage of the local leaders of the protest group actually carrying out their own counter rituals in some type of bizarre white magic versus black magic war. They even had the old-fashioned witch's pot. I was wondering where the brooms were. They conjured spirits, brought them into the circle, concentrated their power together, and then sent the spell in against the Grovers.
magical protection around all of us and around this place.
Now I'm beginning to realize why we're not supposed to talk about all the occult activities that are going on inside the Grove. It isn't magic or belief in magic that's the problem. It's not the occult. No, it's those evil right-wingers. And by the way, let's not mention all those top Democrats that are inside. It's pretty hypocritical. Now, to be fair, Mary Moore and many of the protesters were not involved in the ritual. But we did see leaders of the ritual directing the protest and moderating with police. The police even shut down the road so they could carry out their ritual. And to be fair, it wasn't just Western magic that was being practiced at the protest. There was a group there promoting Santeria. You know, that Caribbean voodoo practice, but they also mixed in some Aztec worship. So it was quite a grab bag of occultism.
What is the purpose of the offering for the altar? What is that?
Giving back to Mother, giving back to you. Take, and consume. But today, we're asking everybody to give something back.
So this is to return something to the earth, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Since by doing so, we resurrect character.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Our investigator talked to a local NPR reporter who had an interesting run-in with what we later learned was the Secret Service.
Cool. I was alerted to very fancy cars standing in the side street here, and I walked up. The guy had window down, and he had all kinds of fancy recording equipment on his seat next to him. And I held the microphone, and then I said, "Sir, we are curious about who you are. Would you please tell us who you are?" And he said, "Take your mic out of my car, lady, and step back." And I said, "Would you repeat that for broadcast?" And held it even closer. And that's all I could get out of him. And then he sort of tried to run over my toe. He turned his car around and disappeared in that direction. And people said he was on the bridge filming before. So he was somebody from the other side who was documenting this.
Right, the wrong side. Okay.
The wrong side, yes.
In studying worldwide occult networks, in modern times and throughout history, we always run compartmentalized pyramidal structures with a bunch of well-meaning dupes at the bottom, managers in the central areas, and Luciferian death cult adherents at the top. In India, it is Kali. The Mayans and Aztecs' greatest gods were the gods of death. It was the same in Egypt and in Babylon, as well as Rome and ancient Greece. But what about those sweet little Hawaiians? You guessed it, throwing virgins into that live volcano. The god of death demands it. So the National Convention, we ran into David Gergen, the Karl Rove of 4 presidential administrations.
Okay, one last question. I read a Washington Times article many years ago where you had a comment about the organization, and then now it's been in the Wall Street Journal, it's been in a lot of different newspapers, and that's the Bohemian Grove. And back in, 1996, when you joined as a Clinton advisor, the Republicans were criticizing you. Oh, what about Bohemian Grove? And then you countered them by saying, "Hey, I don't run around in the woods naked." What did that mean?
Here is the before-mentioned Washington Times article where he said, "I didn't run around naked like they do."
I don't know what quote you're referring to. I'm not aware of any quote like that. Listen, I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there and talk about the group beyond that. Thanks.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Really?
That's right.
Well, I'm Alex Jones, and I snuck in there in 2000. I'm the guy that blew it wide open and got the video. It's been on national TV.
Well, I just respect you for that.
You do?
I do.
But there's a lot of big public officials going in there. Don't we deserve to know?
I don't know anything about you, and I don't know anything about your film. But if you go in there with an understanding, you violated that understanding by releasing that film, and I don't respect you for that.
Really? But we have public officials